call to order our December 12th regular meeting, so it would be, is there any agenda additions or deletions? I have one here that's firework permit for Braun Spencer Jr.
I got an email this morning for it. They don't plan on doing it till the 31st, and we don't have another meeting, so.
It's the same one we approved last time, right?
Yeah,
And it's well over 14 days in advance, so
yeah,
I'll make a motion that we include it in this, add it to the agenda.
I'll
okay.
second it.
And we'll put that under new business.
Works for me.
All right, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Right?
Anyone opposed? Anything else under additions or deletions? All right, I'd ask for a motion with regard to the November 28th regular meeting minutes.
Move we approve?
Second,
I'll second it.
is there any corrections or deletions to those? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, the emergency meeting, November 29th. I'd ask for a
I'll
motion to approve those minutes.
make a motion to approve them as presented. I
All
didn't
right.
see any corrections or anything.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, is there any corrections?
Was there two of us here?
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to make a note that I'm going to recuse as I was not present.
That's good. All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Road Commissioner, do you have a report for us?
Yeah. Where do you want like to start? If the link belt excavator had a short. I don't. You guys got questions about it? Finally reached out to a local dealer that deals with the girth system, and we're in the midst of trying to figure out. And the rep from the girth actually can realize what the problem was of the improper install of the excavator at the dealer. Brad brought it up to me about we had to move forward and get the parts and get it fixed and deal with the financial part afterwards. We're looking at approximately a roughly $5,000 fix. So I was wondering, just want to run by the board what their pleasure is to go ahead and fix it with permission and then deal with whatever ramifications come in the
reimbursed.
future.
Try and get reimbursed from that company?
We'll try, but
I personally think that's a bad idea. Going into the winter, call a lawyer, send a letter, see if we can get some results. Because as soon as that money's out the door, you're never getting it back. Yeah, as soon as you spend the $5, you're never getting
well,
it.
the problem is the local dealer on that system has nothing to do with contract services where the excavator came from.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I mean, we got to go after somebody to get it fixed. That's a brand new machine.
Mm-hmm.
Has that guy talked to the place that you bought it from? And
That I'm not
actually-
sure.
And actually told them you guys screwed up?
I'm sure the rep from Geeth has talked to him. I'm not sure.
Especially since the red flag
Yes,
for
I
me is I've heard that one of our road crew members was at a place and there was a representative from where we got our excavator there,
Mm-hmm.
and the person's response to our road crew member was, "I'm not allowed to talk to you," and turned and walked away. Is that accurate?
That's what I was told, because he is the actual salesman, but he is not the
Representative.
not that I want to say representative. He had to be the representative's company and be right here and say what's going on with the machine. They won't even come up and look at it.
So there you go. Shot across the bow.
Yeah.
That's what
The
that's
lawyer
what's-
letter's not gonna be that expensive and see where it goes.
that's what you're gonna need. I mean, you're gonna, and it needs to be pretty strongly worded. You know, I've been retained on behalf of the town of Clarendon to represent their interests in this matter, and hit them and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a brand new machine. How many hours on it?
500,
There is 500
500 hours on
Okay.
it, which is
But,
that's
which is nothing really.
still almost a demonstrator.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
And they're almost admitting that it was a fault of theirs. And I agree with
I
Robert.
wa- I
We don't
wasn't
need it
aware
real
that-
urgent right
that-
now.
I wasn't aware that the girth rep actually admitted.
This just came about
Yeah.
in the last day, since yesterday
So I would
I was at home,
try like
got
hell to
emails.
get a hold of
or Friday.
that dealer that you bought it from and said, listen, this is what the girth rep told us.
We can't get anywhere, but maybe with that, and maybe this Emmett from Girth has contacted him. I don't know. And
Somebody's got to own it.
maybe we ought to be maybe I reach out to Emmett, which is the Girth rep, and ask him if he.
Yeah, ask
I've
him
been
if
in
he'll
contact with
step
him.
in and say,
We
hey,
can, to resolve this relative to either getting a lawyer or getting the job done, let's assume that we'll have to have an emergency meeting rather than sit here half the night trying to plan B or plan A. Meanwhile, you
there's no
can.
emergency.
Huh?
There's no emergency.
Well, no, emergency meeting does not necessarily mean there is an emergency.
We,
Emergency meeting is just another,
Special meeting. You can call a special meeting.
yeah, okay, to make everybody happy.
If-
I'll go along with.
Well, just
the other thing is, when it did break, we called contract services. We ended up had a pen coming, thinking that they'd stand behind it. We actually got delivery of the pen, and that was, Heidi can tell you, almost $800 for the pen itself. I haven't signed off on it to get paid. So they're, I don't know if they have sent you another bill. I think they did, didn't they?
They send us monthly statements.
Monthly
saying that we're
statement.
past due, but that's it.
So, and that one pen is almost $800. The other section that I showed you here is about 3,400 roughly. And then I'm thinking the labor. I'm just trying to throw figures together. The labor, if we take it, haul the machine up to Rutland, the labor for Reggie to put it together, being a dealer and setting the proper pressures. Well, the total bill will be around 5,000. Total, give or take.
it'd be nice if you can get girth involved. Let them
Duke it out with the.
fix it, and yeah, then they can fight with.
Well, see, now the problem is that we brought in a third party with the other dealer, local dealer,
Somebody's got to stand behind the warranty, though.
and Gerth says that they were at first, but once they saw this picture and how that bolt was held on there, it was wrong.
Which is why that needs to be handed right over Exhibit A to the lawyer. And the lawyer takes after. So if that's the case,
So the attorney is gonna have to be explained. This is a situation. This is what it looks like, so he knows.
Has that, like I said, if girth talks to the guy in Albany, right? That's where it's from.
Yeah, contract services.
If he talks to them and says, "Look, I saw a picture of it. You guys screwed it up." Maybe we don't even have to get a lawyer involved if we can get.
If we can get it that
if
way.
you
If we
get
can
them
get
to
him to
get them
talk
to
to it.
act.
I mean,
Well, we could try it, why don't we, that's a good point, Art, so why don't we try that first?
I'll
And
get
then-
hold of him at
And then,
Katie Kenner or
we'll
something.
come back,
right here.
we'll come back to the lawyer discussion,
Mm-hmm.
either Bloomer or Jim Goss.
Well, what I was going to say is there's also nothing wrong with us sending one last letter. This is our last letter to you. We
Before
can't
we-
get any response. Send it
Before-
certified.
Before we
And this
seek
is
legal,
this is our last step prior to seeking legal counsel.
Yeah,
We expect the warranty to be stood behind and this to be resolved in the next, I don't know, say 30 days or something like that. Put a deadline on it.
Would this go with that letter?
Yep. And this is what we have on file to hand to our legal team. We expect a response and something to take place within the next 30 days. And that certainly doesn't cost us anything to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
sounds scary.
Well, that's the point.
So for right now,
Emmett, reach out to Emmett first,
yep,
then go Robert's
yep,
letter,
real.
Yep.
Right.
and then the attorney.
And then the attorney's step 3.
But I would reach out to Emmett first.
I also, though,
So Katie, are you
far as
taking
Emmett
it
goes-
down step 1, step 2, step
I
3?
wouldn't let too much grass grow under your feet.
No.
If you give it, say, we're giving it 48 hours. If you know, and if not, then you send Katie's letter. And if you need help sounding mean, I can help you. Mean but professional.
Or you could send
So
a
for right
picture.
now, I'm gonna hold off on ordering parts, getting anything, to see if they can
Yeah, I would.
Oh, I think I would.
hold off.
You- you
I mean,
could
we're
add
not in
another
construction
picture to that.
season.
You could add another picture to that.
That was on camera, Mike.
I know. I don't care. I mean, if Trump can do it, I can do it.
Can you fuzz that out?
No, I was scratching my eye.
Okay, moving on. We got all that, Katie.
So,
Get it all ironed out.
Motion for the letter, since we're not gonna meet again, like, or
I wouldn't think so.
No,
It's
just-
in the minutes.
no.
And stuff.
It's in the minutes. That's the plan. I mean, I don't think it needs to be.
what, what else you got
We have
there?
an issue on Peters Lane with cars.
And I have a voicemail on my phone.
Okay.
Again?
It was an extraordinary circumstance which the plow driver was attempted to be spoken to, and
Oh, it did
it
go
did
that
not
far.
go well.
Okay.
Is the version from
Apparently
the
they
is the
got
version from the homeowner.
a electric car, and another one has to come up and charge it. So they leave it close or buy it. So they leave it close by. They're gonna have I plowed that road many times too, and the road needs no cars on the side of it. They'll have to figure out something to have the cars.
I thought they put another driveway up
They
there.
did.
Yeah, but separate. I don't know if they can stack two of them together
Okay.
to jump the other one, or I don't. That's. I just wanted you guys to be aware of it.
As a response to, I don't know who the driver was, but
Okay.
the response from the homeowner is that the driver was pretty not citizen friendly. Let's put it
Okay.
that way. I'm not
Right.
sure what was said, but that's
Got a phone call from Palouse Lane, over by the airport, the dead end road. Apparently, that got paved like 6 years ago. There's one of the houses across the road. The water lines broke under the road, and I had given him a contractor's number, Phil Baker actually, and he went up and looked at the project. And I said, Phil, if you got a boring machine or pipes blow underneath the road with the excavator, they can't do it that way. So you need to cut the tire. So I'd like to draft up a letter that when they cut the tire, dig it up, put trench in or pipe in, then they cover it back up. Draft up a letter that the landowner contractor is still responsible in the spring for putting tire back over it,
Pave it.
bring it back as much as you can to original, and then if it settles within 2 years, it'd be retired in that section again. And every time you dig up a road like this, you'd never get it packed back in.
Yeah.
It takes that long for it to settle back in. So there is no hump there. Just to get you guys on board with that part.
Okay.
The other
You want
thing
me to
is,
do that then?
pardon me?
I'm drafting up a letter
Yeah.
for them,
Yeah.
requiring that. Okay.
And the other thing is, we finally found a map on Tier Road. Is our suggestion to hire a survey to survey the right of way in that lower section up there, so we know exactly where our boundaries are.
for the MRGP project.
For up through Landfears. Yep. And that was the one we talked earlier about the two grants together.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Who's, I mean, obviously, in those situations, the state drafts what needs to be done, right? It comes from
They actually don't have a blueprint.
But it comes
per se.
from regional, right? They're
Yeah, well, they'll give it guidance of what, needs to transpire. As far as design somewhat, or just, they're not there policing it. Is that where I'm answering your question, or?
well.
Probably
I
not.
mean, the direction and the road.
There's certain guidelines that have to be met, like road standards that have been given out. So if there's any part of those standards based on, I mean, these guys can tell you what those standards are. Then that if so many points are not hit, then that puts that segment of road into a higher priority to get fixed to meet those specific standards
Yeah.
and points. So technically that is your guideline that has been dropped down by the state. And the state is requiring that towns self-police that.
Yeah, they self-verify them.
So because that is identified as a high priority segment, the state is looking to have that done by a certain date.
No, I understand all that. But what I'm saying is, we already know that road and that section especially is a hotbed of contention. Is the best way to put it. If there's no other way to state it. So you already are talking about subcontracting it out so that it's not our personnel doing the work. Which, okay.
And there's possibility, depending on the contractor, that we could actually like work with the contractor somewhat with some of the hauling and stuff like that to do our town share. If the select board thinks that, if not, we'll just walk away and let a contractor.
But
do it.
what I'm stating, you want to get a survey done, subcontractor. Are we better to have an outside entity draw the plans so that it can't be claimed? Because right now the claim is that on that section of road is that the town is out to whatever. So
So we can.
It would be nice to have plans so that you can actually go to the
And then
landowner and say, listen, this
This is what it
this
is.
is what it's gonna look like when we're done. This is what we're
And the other
required to do.
the other projects we've done, like on the other side of the road, up on the Iowa side.
they've just given you the guidelines to do them.
Yeah, and I went to each landowner and actually brought them out on the road and said, okay, this is what's going to transpire. This is the plans.
But you haven't had the
Oh,
the heat that you've had on this section,
Right.
so to speak.
not at all.
That's right.
You know, the other thing, though.
That's what I'm
So,
saying.
so this is a backup for us if we had like get the survey done on right away, get an engineer plan of some sort
That's what I'm saying.
to do whatever.
And it would be even better if you had that engineered plan because ultimately this all falls under Rutland Regional. And a letter from Rutland Regional saying this plan meets all specs of this project and that, so that there's understanding that there's
The
a process this went through,
the obligation of the town has to meet these standards.
and this engineered plan satisfies the requirements so
Right.
that it's understood.
Yeah, and like I told one of the other residents that lives across the road, I says, I want to do this in a least impact way for everybody. Don't want the ditch at their doorstep.
Yeah.
We're not. Basically, we really almost don't want to go right to our end of the right away
Sure.
because the impact of how close
Those
the resident
poles
is.
aren't in the correct area either.
That's where
Did she call back
What's that?
from Green Mountain Power?
No,
I thought
didn't
we
hear.
weren't going to say nothing until we got our survey done and stuff like that. And then we had something to go to Green Mountain Power and say.
Oh,
I would just note though the grants and aid money that we have already gotten, it has to be submitted and reimbursed by September 30th of next year. So if you're not gonna, we have to expend those funds.
I mean, this
by
could be a
then.
2-year project as far as legalities.
But can those monies be used towards the planning and the process of starting to?
I'm not sure. This grant, we just file a letter of intent and then we get the grant agreement. It's very easy to get those funds. But I'm just saying, time wise, you will only have that 40,000 if we get better roads to use by next summer, basically. Better roads, I think, runs to the following year, but I think, I mean, it's hard to say, like, because of the right of way and the dispute about that. But, I mean, we showed RRPC the estimate that we got for what the plan is,
Mhm.
and they're going to submit it to the state.
Well, because the state has to approve what's going to be done.
Right. So I think we're kind of already in those steps of saying this is the plan that's to state spec.
Correct. But you have to rely on the fact that in this particular situation, you are going to need more than just town officials saying this is to state spec.
Yep.
That's not going to fly in this
Right.
particular is what I'm saying. That's not going to be enough in this particular situation. That's my statement.
Gotta come above the town,
Well, correct.
somewhere farther up the line.
Have, the town's gotta have backup for
Yeah, okay,
legal
call it that,
course
whatever.
or whatever you
But,
wanna call it.
but they're not gonna deal with the town at all, we know that.
And I see, I don't even know if we could actually get it done by September. Because of all that part. I mean, we're talking a 2-week project.
Once it's ready to rock and roll.
We got some small trees take down. Start banging. This project is so much easier than what we've done on the backside.
So what you're looking
Very
at,
simple.
first of all, is to get permission from the select board to hire an engineer or surveyor to go in and,
The first thing you need is the survey.
Yep.
yeah.
That'd be the first course of action. That's my thought.
So did you get any cost?
Nope, because I went and found out what you guys did before I went beyond. But the other thing is, we know the surveyor that did the other property there. I think we had to reach out, so there is a non-conflict there.
Likely they won't. They'll consider it a conflict of interest. Likely you're going to have to get somebody
That's what I
else. Yeah.
Yep. So I could reach out to some different ones.
Yeah, because you're likely going to
Yeah.
have a different one.
Mhm.
Did that survey that we got shown that day get put on? It was stated that it was going to get put on file with the town. Did it?
It is.
It did come in.
And
So
actually,
our surveyor can reference that.
yep. And actually, today I talked to Aaron Coda, and he has no survey map, but he says when he bought it from Carl and Gladys, his land, that supposedly they had it surveyed, and we happened to find it under Carl's and Gladys's.
Oh,
So
and
now we got
Both
the only
sides.
one we don't have is Ken Block's, which
The upper
we-
one.
but we have pins to go by.
okay,
The upper one.
okay.
So it wouldn't be that costly to,
It shouldn't.
No,
It shouldn't be.
It's going to be more research
Oh,
than
yeah.
anything.
I mean, I don't know. The regular survey is 4,000 or 5,000. This one here, I mean, you're looking at just a strip.
Are you saying that their survey is wrong?
No. Not saying their survey is wrong.
actually, if you look at their survey, it does indicate that it's beyond where the contested area is. In other words, you can look at that map and see right there where the fence lines are, the road, the end of the road is that exists now, and where the surveyor, and it's way back from the
That's
road.
like
Yeah, I think.
the
Go ahead.
the fence posts that are in front of the house are about. I haven't done a ruler because I didn't want to go on the property, but probably about 5 to 6 feet on town right away.
yeah.
and
Not looking to make a big highway up through there. Just looking at controlling water to fulfill the 2025.
If the property owners at the time when they did all that stuff, that was only a class 4 road. And then when, I don't know what entity from the state come through and said, well, if you're claiming that's a class 3 road, then you have to get it measured and then make it a class 3 width.
So
That
that's
was
That's
20 years ago.
what I have on that part. So we'll reach out for a surveyor.
Yeah.
You want a couple estimates or something like that, or?
Yeah, well, that's what you should have.
Okay, bring it,
See,
Next
for next meeting,
meeting.
see who's
Okay.
who's available.
yep.
Yeah.
They can reach out, or Katie can, or whatever. Alright,
All right, what else you got?
Was that for the discussion on the grant?
what's that?
The grant that needs to be signed, was that the whole discussion, or?
Well, so the grant you're asking us to sign is for that project.
Yes. And the deadline is the 16th to get it submitted.
How long has that grant been open? Can I ask that question?
Yeah.
Don't throw anything at me, but I'm just curious.
I think I got the email less than a month ago
Really?
for Thanksgiving. And I know it's a short timeline.
That's a super for
to get RRPC down here, to get a contractor down here, to get
Yep.
it's,
So I'm wondering if we saw it headed south on that part for a time frame, if we can actually move the grant to another location.
Well, if they find out
They'll
that,
use it.
yeah, I mean,
And I think they're workable.
a lot of those grants they might let you file for an extension or they might bump it or whatever if
Right.
push comes to shove. So
yeah, I know it's a really short timeline to try to get everything in order. I did not appreciate it either.
So, what I'm holding in my hand right now is the Vermont Better Roads road grant program. This is what we have to sign?
Yeah, so that is to get grant money for the Tier Red project near Lanfears, which we are hoping to use in combination with grants and aid money.
My recommendation.
which that'll complete that side, and then we've only got what is it, another 3 segments in town or something that we have to tackle. It knocks us down to
Yeah, there's one segment actually on Anderson Hill. To actually, you might laugh at me or something, but it's just clean it up a little bit and get it in as historical. Believe it or not, because they do have a section of historical from stone walls, big trees. Like, I don't know if you've been up Anderson Hill, we call it Keebler tree,
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, the next,
That going
And
up the hill
yeah,
itself?
before
Past,
Loomis's house,
yeah.
right in front of his house.
so there's this section near Lanfears, and then there's 2 more segments up the hill past Lanfears where their sugar woods are. That's
Okay.
very high priority. And then the one on Anderson
About
Hill.
15 maple trees.
So you've got
Cash
that.
felt like priority was bottom of the hill. It keeps washing out. Keeps spending more money on it.
And the other thing is direct discharge to the brook.
That Brooks right
And with
there.
that being said, we didn't realize it, but we found that bottom cross culvert that's on the tire onto your road is a big boiler, and she's pretty shocked. So actually, Kurt's the one that really found it, because he got right down in there, and he took some pictures for us, and he said, chances are we're gonna have to have box culvert there.
'Cause it's
So you're looking at another
yeah.
230,000, whatever. with guardrails.
Which that is not part of this project, but something to keep in mind.
That would be.
But it is one of the part in the segment.
So we want to make a motion to sign this grant tonight. If you're saying it's due when?
It has to be submitted by Friday.
Next week, right?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with submitting the grant and seeing where this goes. So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and have the board chairman sign the grant on behalf of the board.
I'll second.
All right, is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
That's just an information piece. Next thing I have is the Caterpillar grader. This is the invoice that I had to sign off on the other day with the rep.
This has to be signed too?
No,
Okay.
that's our town copy.
Okay.
You mean the contract?
The contract for it, yes.
Not an invoice.
Pardon me?
It's a not an invoice, right?
It's contract.
Thank you. Just
A purchase sales agreement. How's that? I'm learning.
344,000?
This should not have been signed. This has got trade in it.
This second paper will cover that.
Cash, you gonna hog those warrants down there, or you gonna pass them down?
Hog what?
The warrants.
Oh, you want them?
Yeah, that opens, that clears it too. Yeah, right.
It was my understanding that the way the contract was to be worded was that if we had not already been able to secure a sale price of at least that dollar amount, that the contract would then,
That's where this.
at the time when we're then going to receive the new piece of equipment, if we hadn't been able to sell or hadn't been able to sell for that dollar amount that was offered, that would guarantee us that amount for that piece of equipment. That was my understanding.
In the
Not
second.
that we're locked into having them take it and trade. Does
And
that not say that?
That's where the follow-up paper comes along.
Okay.
He had to write it up as a trade agreement,
Yep.
or a price, as a purchase order. And then the follow-up on the second page, the other page there, explains that out,
Explains
that
that.
the town has the right to disperse that piece of equipment how they please.
Yeah, but not really, because it's worded and it says that if we have not sold it by the time that the new one arrives, it's theirs. That's the way it's written. It's worded that if we have not sold to our grader prior to
Yeah.
them,
Read it.
please consider this written notification that Milton Cat will allow the town to sell the 2000 grader on their own and not trade us as long as we are notified prior to us delivering the town the Caterpillar. So in other words, the flip side of that is if it hasn't been sold and we're still in possession of it, we're locked to this.
I think we ought to send them a note or
And
have a conversation with them. Cash.
and Bob was there at, like I said before, at the meeting. He would cherish us if we sold that grader outright.
He would
Don't
what?
want, he doesn't even want to deal with it. The grader itself. And that's where I said to him, I'm sorry. Well, then give me two figures then. I said, I want a figure with trade and another one without trade. He goes, no, it don't work that way. He goes, I'm a straight sale. This is what our new grader costs.
Yep.
Flat out. Because a lot of times when you go to trade, they'll pull up the list price. They could do a vehicle.
I think if you go back and revisit the motion, I think the motion was very specific that no contract could be signed with a trade in it.
Okay. He said that. Okay. I've talked
We
to
can
him again.
revisit it, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's the way the motion was made. But you're locked now. Because they're going to hold you to that contract.
Yep.
They're not going to.
Just make sure it's sold before you take delivery of the new one, that's all. Even if the town has to buy it.
It doesn't say what the
be
town
sold,
sold
right?
it for either.
It says it has to be sold. Right? I mean, that's really. Is it, I mean,
It
doesn't say by
am
who.
Am I
I
reading
could
that?
Or
I
two
could give
of
you a check for $1,000 and you decide to sell it to me.
Right,
So what difference to me?
so as long as it's sold before you get the new one,
Yes.
That's why
One
we,
way or another.
that's why we get in touch with Craig Constantino. Let's make a deal.
That's all I have.
we'll sell it to Kevin.
Yeah. Love all your cemeteries.
Bumps.
The next thing you need, Carla said you needed something new to go up in the parking lot up there by
All
the
right,
house.
approval of the select board warrants, they're someplace.
I don't think you
Oh
signed it.
no, I haven't seen it yet.
Are you a guest tonight, Kevin?
Both, yeah.
You speak up on the, what's your issues tonight?
Well, first of all, last week Gloria took a call from a woman regarding burials. I replied back to her, and she was interested in a green burial. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. No embalming, no casket, no, you just put the body in the ground.
At her house.
Yeah, when I had the conversation, it was at her house. So I told her we're probably not going to allow. Initially, I told her we're not going to allow that in the cemeteries, and I need to revisit that for the rules. But she wanted it on her own property, and so I contacted Jenny Prosser from the Secretary of State's office, the counsel for Secretary of State, and she forwarded me the information about green burials. I'm going to forward it to her, but it's probably something we probably should take a look at going ahead, because the rules have to be around. The state allows people to bury on your own property, but you know, there's issues with water and sewage and right of ways and all this kind of stuff. So there's that. In October, we talked about Elizabeth Ewing Fox burial. It was supposed to happen in November. I hadn't heard from them. I called her last week, and it's now been postponed to the spring. So we'll revisit that probably in the spring sometime. The board had given approval for the burial. We approved it. GM Tree Tech left me a message that they are not going to be able to get that tree to the spring. I replied back, responded back to him, and, I left him a message. His message was, if you want to go with somebody else, I understand. I told him in my message that's the board's decision. There's a meeting tonight. I've got no problem just waiting till, or whatever you gentlemen want to do. Apparently, between scheduling and manpower, they're just not going to be able to get it to the spring.
So in your opinion, does that look safe the way it is? I mean,
I imagine the trees stayed there for some time. It's probably unless we get an Irene type wind
yeah.
or something. If anybody says anything, though, in Veterans Weekend, I went and removed the 3 stones that are around it.
Mm-hmm.
I put them in my barn, because that was kind of like the agreement I had. I'd move those stones to get them all the way, and they could take the tree down. So if I anticipated they'd be back there by now, and there's no way I can now probably put 2 of them in the ground, because the frost is starting to settle on the ground. So if there's a call, someone calls up and says my stones are missing, that's the reason. They're in my barn right now. So,
All right.
and they're going to stay there for the winter.
Okay, well, it's public knowledge now
Right.
as far as the cameras are concerned. Stuff.
Well, that all depends on who. The interested party watches them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if somebody calls the town clerk,
Right, yeah,
we got that
So-
information.
that's where they're at.
Does anybody on the board have any concerns?
Thanks, Kevin.
Fine to me.
Do what you gotta do.
I also reached out to Balkers and get some information about the stone that's going to be replaced in the marsh where that was, and I sent them an email and they haven't responded back to that. They had told me that it would be ready to go before I'd be able to put it in the ground, but it's not, as far as I know. They haven't contacted me. Said the stone's ready to go, and there's gonna be no putting in the ground now. So
No. But if they do deliver it, is there a place to store it?
next to the other three in my barn.
Okay. Okay. All right. You have anything else? Okay. Old business, Regional Emergency Management Committee appointment.
My understanding is we're gonna appoint Matt to that now.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and complete that appointment and appoint Matt Jacobowski.
Second.
Select Board Chair got a.
Yeah, and I'm good with select board chair signing it.
Okay, there's a motion made, seconded. Any further discussion?
Really, Matt?
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And 12, 12, 22, a lot of twos in that. All right. 2023 Select Board meeting schedule.
I looked it over. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve it.
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Can we post that somewhere or put it on the?
She'll get it to me.
Okay, good. Firework permit.
Mr. Chairman, by my memory, we had a
Yes.
permit at this address last year, and I don't believe we received any complaints, and I think they were low-level fireworks anyway. I don't think they were aerials, so I would go ahead and make a motion that the chairman of the board sign the approval on our behalf.
There a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, Heidi, do you have anything you want to report other than,
Just that our next budget workshop will be on Monday, the 19th at 4 p.m.
okay.
All I have.
Gloria, do you have anything as town clerk?
I have nothing.
Katie, do you have anything?
I think.
All right.
Kevin, do you have any concerns as a lister?
Learning something new every day.
Are you having fun?
I'm enjoying myself.
Now,
Challenging.
I just want to know, do you wear earplugs when you sit next to George?
No. I thought I had a clean weekend. I went to a family event and George was there yesterday.
Oh, God.
Family?
No? No. I guess he was friends with them too.
God.
Good deal.
Art, do you have any concerns?
I do not.
Bob?
Just looping back, because I know we only talked about it for a second. I would recommend, based on my voicemail, that you reach out to the resident on Peters Lane.
Myself.
Give him a
I
call.
want to get your number. His number.
Yeah, I'll give it to
I don't
you.
have it. Dave's, right?
Yeah, I think probably it'd be good for him to have a conversation with
Yep,
you,
okay.
you directly.
Yep. That'd be
'Cause-
good. I didn't know that all transpired.
Yeah,
I was told about it.
yeah.
I don't have any concerns. Bob?
I'm just happy holidays to everyone, and that's all I got.
All right, well, I'd entertain a motion then.
So
So,
move.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?